Well, we're about 500 kilometres into what's going to be, I think, a sort of 600 or 700 kilometre ride. 2.5 days out here for KTM's 2021 890 Adventure R launch, and thought it'd be really fitting to sort of get a few words with Steve Robertson. Not only is he leading the ride, but Robbo's also owned a 790 for the best part of a year or more. And I think the question on everyone's mind is going to be, how does this new 890 fit relative to that 790? But before we get in there, Robbo, hey, mate, awesome route for starters. Just tell us a bit about, we had everything from highway to what we're looking at here, single trail fire roads. Was that the brief from KTM?
That was the brief. We were going to pre-run it about a month ago with all that rain, so we sort of postponed it. We only run it last week, so we finished on Sunday, Monday off.
Yeah. Back
to Preston's and loaded up, and here we are. So we've tried to cater for everybody's needs. So we've done a freeway to begin with, down to Mittagong, then nice windy roads all the way through Bombing Caves area. First night we got to Wang, you know, a lot of stuff, pine forest as well, bit of road, windy road as we come back into town, as you know. That was day one, so that was a late finish.
Yeah.
We had a flat tyre and a few things, but it was all good. Day two, we left from Wang again and then back to Hampton, which we went through a lot of scenic country, Blackfellows Hands, Moffat's Trail and up to Capety, so there was a lot of elevation there.
Some nice erosion mounds.
Erosion hounds.
Yeah.
Mounds, so that's where it really starts to test these bikes.
And I guess, mate, no surprise, obviously we've got another 90 cubes on the bike. They've done that both bore and stroke. So, you know, no surprise it's got more power, but where did you feel that? I mean, for me it was the most obvious off the bottom, just response and the fact that you could carry taller gears, pulls from 2,000–3,000 revs.
Yeah, that's right. So a lot more opportunity to ride a gear higher than the 790. The 790, I think a lot of people had a few complaints flaming out slightly, a little bit sluggish off the bottom, but this fixes all that. You know, when you're second or third, you seem to be able to hold that gear higher. I
found out I could be lazy on the road too. When I was cold and shitty and didn't even want to change gears, you know, when it's minus something the other day, and you can just leave it in 6th gear and just motor around a corner in third, and you know, 3,000 revs. So just a lot more forgiving, I guess, and probably going to appeal a lot more to those guys used to the 1,000, 1,100, 1,200 cc bikes on the open terrain.
It gives you that good crossover now. It's sort of stepped up from that smaller capacity bike.
And we were talking the other day, one of the things I thought was really interesting about the 790, particularly when we, at the launch in Morocco, was the lack of engine braking, because especially in sand, in the Sahara Desert, you don't be backing off and going like shit, you know, worst thing. But I was a little bit concerned with the bigger engine that they were going to create that, but it doesn't feel like there's any more engine braking, or in fact, it doesn't feel like any more inertia in the thing either.
No, I agree. I think it's pretty much the same stability and nimbleness as the 790 had. In some way, it does seem to be more planted. To be able to run that gear higher and being smoother helps. So.
Electronics package, I'd agree. Next thing, you know, it's sophisticated. I think there's a lot of skeptics in and around it. They're calling it a 6D now, you know, the 6th dimension, or but you know, they're saying it's intuitive and it can actually learn from you. Like, we were joking that, you know, if we jumped on Birchie's bike, it'd tell us to go and jump off some crazy cliff and do some extreme stuff. But to me, it was simpler to scroll through, more intuitive. They've, you know, you can't get rid of the ABS completely now. You can only get the off-road setting, and you can't, I think, unless you've got a dongle, you can't get rid of the traction control completely, can you?
I don't think many people need to be honest. It's refined for the better, with the added cruise control with the tech pack, the quick shift. I think everything seems to do its job, like with the street mode being such a smooth power curve, the rally, the big cranky bottom end. The
cool thing is you find your settings within each particular mode, and then it's just like one toggle back. You know, I go from street, toggle back, I'm on rally mode, I'm in slip 4 with street traction control, and that's my setting for, you know, which after mucking around I found, you know.
And there's a lot of difference too, isn't there? Like, you can definitely notice if you're going from street to rally to off-road, there is a significant difference in the 3 of those settings. So you can choose if it's muddy, drop it back, so it'll drop the horsepower, smooth the power curve, change it to suit. 2 years ago, just when they launched this bike, you know, I think I made the comment, it was the first time that finally someone's made an adventure bike with a suspension package that can keep up with its you know, weight and power. And, you know, I'll stick by that, and I think it's still head and shoulders above next best suspension package on the market. So a little bit firmer this year. I understand not springs, just in valving. I didn't feel that much, but just hitting some of that shit that by rights you should not be hitting on a 190 kilogram bike at 80 clicks in the bush, you know, like a seam of rock or a big divot or a washout that you just don't see or misjudge. It's incredibly forgiving. Well, I initially jumped from the 790 onto that. It's definitely firmer, feels good. And we had a swap over, because I've been spoilt for choice and had the WP bike with the cone valve, the track shock, acro, a few small things, foot pegs. But even though they're aftermarket accessories, they're probably, initially you don't notice that they're a big thing or any different to feel. Do you agree with that?
I would, because I've tested on enduro bikes, and the second I got on geometry, the bike felt different. So when I got on yours with a, you know, it's $8,000 worth of suspension, 5 grand fork, 3 grand shock, give or take.
Yep.
I thought it'll just ride differently. I'll go down a hill, it'll sit up better, but I didn't notice any of that. So on all the scrabbly stuff, the little stuff, majority of hits, it speaks volumes for how good the standard one is. It was only, I think, when I hit a series of potholes, the up-spec suspension probably recovered a bit better, or, you know, like you say, fast guy, like you were smashing things twice as fast as me.
For just the general trail riding and trail rider, it doesn't feel a lot different until, like the enduro stuff, you really start going fast, hit things, really pushing limits, you know, then it's faultless. It really holds on. That's what it's for. So I think once you're paying for that extra stuff, you're going to be that rider that wants to push that limit, wants to hit things, wants to be like Birchie. Yeah. And, you know, same like the foot pegs. You don't notice them different, but then on a long day's ride you will. You know, it's spreading the load across your feet. You're not getting sore feet, so you don't actually notice it there. Mate,
I think, you know, everyone here, all the journos here, have been overwhelmingly positive about the bike. You know, but I guess it'd be remiss of us, Robbo, not to go like, hey, what should have had? They had 2 years since they brought it out. I'm gonna start off with a couple of things. That headlight, because I'm wearing the best ducted new Moto 10 helmet in the world, and on the freeway with that front screen, it can be adjusted 40 mil, but you got to get out with an Allen key and do it.
And manually do it.
Lovely to be able to do that in a tool freeway. Not a biggie, but I'm going to adjust it on the way home when we're heading back on the freeway tonight. The other thing is, you know, I've ridden with the high seat. You haven't got it on, but I think we go from 850 to, I want to say 880. Sounds like a lot, but it's more curved, so it doesn't feel like that. But in terms, if you're an aggressive rider and that off-road stuff, it felt fantastic.
You can move back and forth a lot better.
Yeah.
So you slide back, The only thing you're pulling up, you're just a bit tippy-toey, but...
The other thing is there's been a bit of talk about the air filter on these bikes. You know, they come with a paper element air filter, unifilter, stick one in, and they've done it again. So the whole airbox setup is the same. On the good side, it's easy. It's not under the tank anymore. It's, you know, back here under the seat, easy to access.
Yeah.
A little bit fiddly to get in and out, but now with a foam filter. But that's the other thing, you know, it'd be really nice from factory to come with something that was ready to rock for Australian conditions.
Yeah, I think even the 790, I think, like if we're going to start looking at a few of the negative points, this is our feedback. Hardly anything wrong with this bike. There's nothing really wrong. It's probably, if we could adjust that, it'd be fine, but the maintenance on the filter is regular. If you don't do it, you know, you're risking dusting that engine. So it is quite simple. The unifilter do have a removable first layer. It's those small things. Few people didn't like the clutch. It's still a cable clutch. We do believe it feels
well, they've modified it. I reckon it's much more refined. I haven't even had cause to think of it. And I think with that Quick Shifter Plus now, we got the, you know, rev matching and almost a slipper clutch arrangement on both up and down shifts. You actually barely touch the clutch. About $1,000 more than its predecessor, or the 790, the most recent price for that bike. You might not, you probably won't be paying full freight for it, mate. But will you be upgrading? Is it that big a difference for a guy on a 790 to go, I want this 890, I need it?
I've heard mixed reviews, you know, that it's not much as this, and you know, it isn't better. For me, it is, it's the best one yet. Big thing is the power and that electronics. There's no doubt I'll be getting one as soon as I can.
Well, mate, you just got to get us back to Preston's, back to KTM HQ this afternoon. We've had 3 of the most bluebird glamour days on the planet, you know. It was about, what, almost freezing this morning. I think I saw 2 degrees on the dash, but 12 degrees during the day. It's been about as good a ride as you can. And mate, thanks for looking after us. Thanks for getting this amazing route together, because it's been a great test of the bike, a really good insight into what this new KTM 890 Adventure R is all about.